समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगत्. Okay, so today we start with verse 4. It says, मया ततमिदं सर्वं जगत् अव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थाने सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थितः. All this world is pervaded by me in my unmanifested form aspect. All beings exist in me, but I do not dwell in them. Now you see, this seems like a paradox. If all beings exist in him, how come he does not exist in them? Because if they exist in him, it must be one. And the student begins to wonder that what is this language? Again, I'm reading, all this world is pervaded by me. That means he is in everything. Okay, there he says. But how is he? In my unmanifested form. In his unmanifest. So there is no name and there is no form. That is what unmanifest means. It is not tangible. You cannot touch it, feel it, see it, but it is there. That is unmanifest. Okay. So he says that it is an unmanifested form. All beings exist in me, but I do not dwell in them. Now see this. ये कैसे करके है कि they exist in me, but I do not exist in them. Gurudev used to give an example of an ocean, and he used to say that in the ocean, if the ocean says that the bubble, the foam, the wave is all in me, that's right. Okay. But the ocean says, I am not in them. The whole ocean is not in a bubble. The whole ocean is not one wave. The whole ocean is not just the froth or the foam floating on the ocean. So that now see, now it is the essential base, the foundation, the substratum. Now, with the moment I say that the unmanifest is a substratum, it does not mean solid because it is in an unmanifest form. Now, the substratum is what in Hindi you call आधार. जब आप कहते हैं ना इस चीज का आधार है, that means it is based on. It is not a solid platform on which the world stands. The ultimate reality, he has already said, is unmanifest. So you cannot say that it is like a platform जिस पे कि सारी दुनिया स्थित है. All those pictures कि वो शेषनाग है, शेषनाग के सिर पे दुनिया है, or Atlas with Atlas has got the world on his shoulders and all. These are all myths to explain certain truths, but they are not there in reality as in the picture. These are all calendar arts. So here he says that अच्छा another example, देखो space, ocean का example हुआ, space also. Everything exists in space, but space does not exist in them. Think very carefully. Another very good example, and that is of mud. All pots exist in mud, right? They're all made of mud. But all mud is not in a pot. All mud is not in even all pots. Still there is mud outside, right? So a pot exists in mud. Its very existence is dependent on mud, but the mud's existence is not dependent on a pot. The mud is there, was there, is there, always will be there. Okay, so the pot's existence is dependent on the mud, the bubble's existence is dependent on the ocean. All that you see, their existence is dependent on space. But space is not dependent on them, ocean is not dependent on the bubble or the wave, and mud is not dependent on the existence of the pot. It's like that, huh? Now, here when he says Maya, Maya means by me. It is pervaded by me. Okay. Now, Maya, when he says me, he is using the first person singular. Okay, first person singular, which is me, my, and I. Me, mine, I, my, all these are first person singular. But here it does not mean Krishna. Again and again, I repeat, here when Krishna says me or my or I, it means the pure consciousness. So it is not that the persona of Krishna pervades all the world, not like that. It is the life principle, the awareness, the ultimate truth, the pure consciousness that pervades in an unmanifested form the whole world. And now also, this consciousness is the subtlest. The subtlest can pervade, only that thing can be the subtlest, which is everywhere. Everywhere. Not even a little thing is there where it is not. Only then it can be formless. Only then it can be Adi Anant. Only then it can be the subtlest. Pervasiveness is subtlety. So here it is the all pervaded, as Gurudev says, that anything that is limited will have a name and will have a form. This is not limited, and therefore it has no form, no shape, it cannot be measured, it does not have a beginning or an end. All these are Upanishadic definitions of the supreme reality, which he calls himself my unmanifested self, my unmanifested form, as he is calling it over here. Because it is imperishable. Anything that is a name and form is perishable. Think. Can you think of anything in the entire world of your knowledge, which has not changed or has not perished? It will perish. It has to perish. It can perish partly. It can perish completely. It can change partly or it can change completely. Anything that is there of the finite world. The infinite is imperishable because no form, nothing. Now then you say that, okay, then what is the relationship? What is the relationship between the finite and the infinite? Because relationship is interesting. It is between two people. So only those who believe in dualism, they think like this, that the finite is something and the infinite is another thing. Is it a father-son relationship? Is it a cause and effect relationship? Is it a real and unreal relationship? Is it a form or manifest, unmanifest, form or formless? What kind of relationship is it? Now, coming back to what I said just now, relationship is between two people, two things, two objects, or one person and an object, right? But here, how can you have a relationship with something that does not exist? Carefully now, I'm coming to something very different. Something that does not exist, which Vedant says is only a projection of your mind. Now, that there is no relationship with something that is not there. How can there be a relationship? Can there be a relationship with my imagined grandchild? I am the grandmother and my imagined grandchild. He does not exist. So, what is the relationship? There is only one person. The grandmother is not even the grandmother until she has a grandchild. Think about it. Now, see, coming to the example of the ghost vision, which we have done many, many times, the ghost and the post, these two things, think of them in the same way. He says that they all exist in me, I do not exist in them. Now, at night, you are seeing a ghost on an electrical post. Tell me, what is the relationship between the ghost and the post? They are one and the same. There is no ghost, it is only a post. So there cannot be a relationship. The post will say, I exist in the ghost. That means the ghost cannot be seen without the post. You are projecting the ghost on the post. So unless there is a post, the ghost existence is not there. ठीक है ना? So the post, from the point of view of the post, the post has created the ghost, but there is no ghost. It is only the post. You have projected a ghost on it. So what is the relationship between the ghost and the post? I am, the post is saying, I am in the ghost because the ghost is dependent on the post. Same thing as mud and pot, carefully. But there will still be a post without the ghost, right? The post is not dependent on the ghost. Carefully, think very carefully. So, that ghost, when it does not exist, can it harm anybody? Can it frighten anybody? Does it have a dagger in hand? There is nothing. You may imagine anything, but wo hai hi nahi. That thing does not exist. So only the substratum exists. Over here in this example, what is the substratum? The post, right? The post is the substratum. You are seeing a ghost on it, which is an unreality. So then it is, when he says, the post is saying, I do not dwell in the ghost. He's right. That also. Okay. So objects are in space, but the space is not in them. Bubbles are in the ocean, but the ocean is not in the bubbles. The mud is in the pot, but the pot is not in mud. So ये सारी अब ये देखो. Again another example, the rope and the snake. Famous examples हैं ये वेदांत के. हाँ, ghost and the post, rope and the snake is a very famous example. Now just think, the rope is the reality, substratum. You have imagined a snake on it. Now your mind has projected the tongue of the snake. It is seeing the scales on the body of the snake. It is seeing the eye of the snake. everything it is seeing. But do they exist on the rope? The snake is not on the rope. So when the rope says, I am, the snake is in me, but I am not in the snake. He's right. The snake cannot exist without the rope. So he says the snake is in me, but the rope will still exist without the snake. So he says, I am not in the snake. Okay, now the next one. Come to the verse 5. न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थः ममात्मा भूतभावनः. Nor do beings exist in reality in me. This is careful. Now, we'll just do it. Behold my divine yoga, supporting all beings, but not dwelling in them, is myself, the efficient cause of all beings. अभी इन्होंने क्या कहा था in the last verse? That they exist in me. I do not exist in them. Now look at this. He says, they do not exist in me. Now he is saying the opposite of what he said just in the previous verse. Gurudev used to say that Krishna, the teacher, even without washing his mouth, has changed his statement. He has not even bothered that I said this last time, and in the very next verse, I'm saying the opposite of that. So, what does this mean? He says, nor do beings exist in me. So, the student says, sir, please make up your mind. What do you want to say? आप ये कह रहे हैं या ये कह रहे हैं? Don't confuse me. Tell me, give me one answer, give me one thing. Now, I'll give you the example of a dream. देखो पहले इसको पढ़ लो पूरा. सब my divine yoga, supporting all beings, but not dwelling in them, is me, myself, the efficient cause of all beings. Now he says they have emerged from me. Because cause of all beings means that they have emerged from me. Without me, they cannot be. Without me, there can be no existence of anything. Without pure consciousness, nothing will be there. Nothing will be there. Tell me, where does all your world disappear when you are sleeping? Where does a dead man's world disappear? If the pure consciousness in him projects a world, the world is there for him. If there is no pure consciousness in him projecting a world, the world is minus from him. There is no world. Think very, very carefully. I'll give you another example. Yeah, देखो ये कहते हैं पश्य में योगमेश्वरम. He says that they do not exist, but they appear to exist. Pashya में योगमेश्वरम. He says they appear to exist. Huh? So yes, of course they have an existence, but what kind of existence do they have? They have a dream existence. The dream existence is no existence. When you are dreaming, are the things truly happening? The dream tiger, the dream hunter, the dream gun, the dream forest, do they exist? You see them? Yes. You feel them? Yes. They hurt you? Yes. The tiger munching your body? There is pain? Yes. But what is it in reality? It is not there. So it appears to be there, but it is not there. So what is the ultimate reality of the dream? The mind of the waker is the reality. That is the substratum on which it is projected. So if the person says that no do beings exist in reality in me, supposing I say the dream does not in reality exist in me, isn't the statement true? In reality, all the beings of my dream do not exist in me. True or not? It is true. Yes. So he is saying this, that they appear to exist. It is only a projection. Now, behold my divine yoga supporting all beings. So I support all beings, just like the mind supports the dream. Can there be a dream without a mind? No. Can there be a dreamer without a waker? No. Unless there is a waker who is dreaming, there can be a dream. But in the first place, if there is no waker, there is no such thing as waker, तो किसकी dream? There can be no dream. Huh? Acha. Another example which Gurudev used to give, of a cinema screen. Cinema screen. The cinema screen is the substratum, the base for all the drama of the film to take place on it. ठीक है ना? All the things that are projected on the screen, are they in the screen? No, they do not exist in the screen. The screen is a white sheet, isn't it? The screen is only a white sheet. Think about it, that when you are sitting in a cinema hall for 3 hours, you are only looking at a white screen. In reality, you are only looking at a white screen. That is the reality. But what are you seeing? You are seeing projections of a film on the screen, and seeing the reality, you are laughing, crying, jumping, excited, sorry, happy. Isn't it? Reality क्या है उसकी? The reality is a white screen. There is no reality. When you see a flood on the screen, not an inch of the screen is wet. So there is no reality of it. So if the screen says that they are not in me, I am in them, that is also right. If the rope says that the snake is never in me, rope में snake है क्या? नहीं. So if the rope is saying the snake is not in me, that is also right. And then the rope is saying I am in the snake, that means I have caused the snake. If I am not there, there can be no snake, right? Think about it. So then it is, see, this is not just a play of words. It is a explanation of hallucination, of a projection, of an illusion. This is the truth of an illusion, that it is not there. Another example, मेरे दिमाग में शक है, ठीक है? What is the reality of it? What is the shak? It is so real in my mind that I'm frightened. Someone is going to come and kill me. I know for sure he's going to kill me. What is the reality of that thought? No reality. It is your mental anxiety, which is throwing up that thought of insecurity. So when you say, yeah, define it, define that, or what is the relationship, Gurudev used to say it is a relationless relationship. क्योंकि वो है भी और नहीं भी है. The dream is, yet it is not. ठीक है ना? The waker himself is the dreamer, and the dreamer himself becomes the waker. So there are no two things. One is unreal and one is real. You know, this is a thing which you have to very deeply think about. It is something very, very deep. It is that the illusion is just not there. It is not there at all. It is like saying that it is a barren woman's second son. It is as illogical as that. As illogical as that. So then, if a child is afraid of the dark and he's seeing something over there, no matter how much you tell him that there is nothing over there, he will not believe you unless the torchlight of knowledge is thrown on that object at night and the child sees that there is no animal standing there, it is only a bush. So knowledge is the only thing that can destroy illusion. Knowledge of what the truth is the only way to destroy illusion. There is no other way to destroy illusion. You can keep feeling frightened all the time because that thing is in truth not there. It is a hallucination, it is a projection that something is there. In reality it is not there. That is why the translation of this verse, if you have the text on you, it says, nor do beings exist in reality in me, only I am there, it is just me, there is nothing else, he says. The post and the ghost example we have done. And so it says that there never was a ghost, there never is a ghost, and there never will be a ghost. It is only a post. It is only a post. Think about it. Similarly, the dream example also is just all the creatures in the dream, the tiger, the hunter, the gun, the forest, the big, big trees, the serpents crawling, they are all creatures of your own mind. So, even in life, you will say, what about real life? All the emotions in real life. You create the emotions. The emotion of love generated by your mind. Then the same person you begin to hate, where does that hate come from? Your own mind. Then again, you clear the misunderstanding, again, you start loving the same person. Where does it come from? Your own mind. So your mind is playing games with you. But how many people understand this? That the mind plays the games. That is what the teacher again and again is saying over here. And he says that that I do not dwell in them, but they a very try to understand it this way, that the very existence of all illusion is because of the pure consciousness, as simple as that. They all depend on the pure consciousness to exist because they in truth do not exist, just like the dream. And so you just the ocean is always there, the wave comes and disappears. The mud is always there, all kinds of pots and dolls and shapes and statues come out of the mud and go back into mud. Mud is the substratum, mud is the support, as he says. So it is the mud can say, I exist in them. It is only mud, it is not anything. There is no statue, there is no doll, There is no pot, it is only mud. Gold can say the same thing of any kind of instrument, not instrument, any kind of ornament, whether it is a nose ring or an earring or a necklace or a bangle or a whatever it is. It is nothing but gold. But since it has form and shape, it will change. The truth of the bangle or the earring or the nose stud is nothing else but gold. That is what it is. Huh? So, the projection of the world, where does the world go when you are under anesthesia? Where does the world go when you are in deep sleep? And when you wake up, it comes back. It is not there at all. It is your mental you. When you wake up in the morning, you suddenly create your whole world back again. You create it. Otherwise, it has no life. Hmm? Gurudev goes on to give examples. One example he gives is of cotton. Cotton is the reality, cloth is not the reality. The cloth depends on the cotton for its existence. Otherwise, it cannot exist. Cotton will still exist, whether it is cloth or not cloth, isn't it? Mm. So, cotton will always be there. The dream reality was never there. It never is, never will be. The waker will always be there, the dreamer will not. So, like that. So, come to the sixth verse. यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायुः सर्वत्र गोमहान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय. As the mighty wind, this is another example given. As the mighty wind moving everywhere rests always in space, the Akasha, even so know you, all beings rest in me. See this example? This is an example of space. Okay? So, storms, hurricanes, whirlwinds, west wind, east wind, strong wind, light wind, they all exist in space. Can there be a wind without space? No. There can be no wind where there is no space. Ah. So he says here that all winds exist in me, moving everywhere, rest always in space. Even so, know you, all beings rest in me. That means I am the only reality, and anything that you project on me. If I am not there, you cannot even project. Leave aside project, you cannot even swallow your food. It is not possible. It is just not possible. And he says that, see, acha, another thing he says over here is all beings rest in me, but they are not, they are not affected. I am not affected by them. Sorry. Existence says that they rest in me, but I am not affected by them. That means they cannot condition me. Whatever they are, whether it is a ghost or a snake or a what you see an animal or what you see as an enemy or what you see as a relative, what you see as your beloved, they cannot condition me. Only that thing can be conditioned which has a limit, which cannot be everywhere. Okay, which cannot be everywhere, can be conditioned. It can have a form, it can have a smell, it can be seen, it can have a name, it can be heard, it can be touched. But that which is unconditioned, which is Adi Anant, which is unmanifest, which is everywhere, that is beyond conditioning. That is what he's saying. Now, the gross can never condition the subtle, is Gurudev's sentence over here. That the gross can never condition the subtle. ठीक है ना? हाँ. You cannot catch the subtle. You cannot capture the subtle. The body cannot capture the thoughts. The body cannot hold the thoughts as prisoners. The thoughts are too subtle for the gross physical body. You cannot hold a thought, right? And therefore, Gurudev gives the example of an English poem where the line is that stone walls do not a prison make. Now, stone walls do not a prison make, yeah? Because see, if a revolutionary is imprisoned in jail, he is in the stone walls. You have imprisoned him physically, but his mind is subtler than the gross body. So the mind is everywhere, all over. The mind can, from the prison, the mind can reach New York. From the prison, the mind can reach Hong Kong. From the prison, the mind can reach Sydney. How can you imprison the mind? No, you can't. Because it is subtle and the body is gross. So here the subtlest of things cannot be confined. The subtlest of things is the unmanifest reality, the unmanifest supreme self. And therefore, nothing can condition it, nothing can harm it, nothing can contain it, and nothing can capture it. So, this you please understand very clearly. And this is what Gurudev insisted, that when once the concept of reality is clear to the seeker must contemplate on the unreality of the world and the reality, what the reality is. And once he is established in that reality, these petty little games of the world, these little things that keep happening in the world, all the pinpricks that you imagine, all the fears, all the insecurities vanish from the seeker's mind. The seeker's mind rests in the absolute reality of the world. The absolute reality is the truth. All the rest is not there. It seems to be there, but is not there. See? And you, dekho, it seems to be, reality seems to be conditioned. Another thing, carefully understand. The reality seems to be conditioned by the unreality, but it is in fact not and can never be conditioned. Take a piece of iron. What is the quality, what is the reality of the iron? It is dark in color and it is cold to touch and it is solid. Okay? When it is heated in the fire, okay, it seems that the iron has become fire. It seems that the iron has taken the color of the fire for a short period. It seems that the iron has lost its shape for a short while. The moment you cool it, what's iron? It has got back its color, which is the permanent reality. It has got back its hardness, permanent reality. It's got back to its cold touch, permanent reality. So, fire can seem to condition iron, but in reality, iron's reality will remain. It will remain what it was. So, the support being iron, all the rest was imposed on it. Similarly, the snake and the rope. The qualities of the snake seem to be dancing on the rope, isn't it? But not there. They are not there. So, all that. Now see, uh, okay, so we do only this much today if you have understood. But these things Gurudev has insisted again and again, that these concepts of reality, unreality, projection and the ultimate reality, and the substratum on which you project, all these are concepts which the Vedantic student must contemplate upon, and contemplate very seriously in meditation. Also understand by contemplation your own reality. What is your reality? It is not this gross body. It is not even the projections of your mind. That is not the reality. They are there for a very short while. When the world has existed, astronomy tells you, so many other sciences tell you that the world, for trillions and trillions of years has been there. How long have you been there? What are you? Just a little bubble risen in an ocean, and in a little while the bubble will burst. And when a big bubble bursts, the smaller bubbles, younger bubbles, go for condolences, prayer meetings. Very soon, those bubbles also burst. Then some others come for their prayer meeting. That is what goes on. The ocean lasts. The ocean will always be there. The bubbles will all burst. So that is the reality of the world. The next verse we'll do next time. ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम